I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.
This fight I'm about to describe was one of the most significant sporting events of 1989. It was the collision of two giants who were known for being formidable knockout artists. Of course, one emerged the winner, and the other left with a fractured left orbital bone and the risk of complete loss of vision. But before I get into it, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe if it's your first time here. Alright, stick around and let's get right into it. On February 25th, 1989, the Las Vegas Hilton Arena saw one of its biggest events ever with the boxing match between the British Frank Bruno and the undisputed Mike Tyson. The fight was highly anticipated and watched by many. It was such a big deal that it was covered and broadcast by the BBC. It was a match unlike any other. At the time, 27-year-old Frank Bruno, nicknamed True Brit, was at the peak of his career. His body physique made it nearly impossible for his opponents to knock him out because he was visibly strong and looked more like a bodybuilder than a boxer. Bruno weighed 228 pounds and stood an intimidating height of 6 feet 3 inches. Compared with Tyson's 218 pounds and 5 feet 11 inches height, Bruno was pretty much a giant, popularly known for being a formidable knockout fighter. With 32 wins, 31 of which ended with knockouts, Bruno was pretty confident he could beat Iron Mike, especially since Tyson had a lot of personal problems he was dealing with at the time. But even at that, the 22-year-old Mike Tyson wasn't exactly a small fish. Undisputed and undefeated, Tyson was the true hero of boxing. At 20, he became the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history when he defeated Trevor Berbick in a match that ended in a knockout in the second round. And afterward, he gained 3 more belts after he defeated James Bone Crusher Smith, Pinklin Thomas, and IBF heavyweight champion Tony Tucker.
I was confident. I came out. I knew the fight. I felt it deep in my heart. I was going to stop him in the first round.
Unfortunately, it was at this victorious moment in his career that he began to get more involved in scandals, and thus, the man who was once the hero of the boxing world became the villain, drawing unwanted negative attention to himself. When the fight between Bruno and Tyson was originally scheduled, the date was fixed for October 8, 1988 at Wembley Stadium in England. However, on August 23, 1988, Tyson was involved in a short street brawl with Mitch Green, whom he had previously defeated in a match in 1986. During the brawl, Tyson hit Green with his right hand, resulting in Tyson fracturing his arm and Green leaving the fight with a bloody nose and his left eye almost completely shut. Due to Tyson's injury, his fight with Bruno had to be postponed to October 22nd. Unfortunately, this was just the beginning of Tyson's troubles, as more events would cause further postponements of the match. September 5th of the same year, Tyson was involved in a car accident that left him unconscious. And then, on October 7th, his then-wife, Robin Givens, filed for divorce, and a month later, she filed a $125 million defamation suit against Tyson. Tyson's problems kept pushing the fight further and further behind until December 15, 1988, when it was officially announced that the fight would take place on February 25, 1989, at the Las Vegas Hilton Arena. All of Tyson's unfortunate incidents made Bruno more confident than ever that he could beat Tyson. He even said in an interview that Tyson's head was not in the game and that he thought it was the perfect time to beat Mike Tyson. But then finally came the day of the match, the collision of two boxing kings. The fight had 4 titles on the line, and neither of them was about to lose. As usual, Tyson showed up in his traditional manner with no socks or robe. He joined Bruno in the ring immediately. The bell rang and the fight began. Both boxers wasted no time building momentum. Right from the start, the boxers began exchanging power punches, each working hard to pulverize the other one. But despite all of Bruno's confidence and promises, the fight almost ended in the first few seconds of the first round as Iron Mike knocked Bruno down with a right hook. Lucky for Bruno, he was able to get up at the count of 2. As the first round progressed, Bruno had a point deducted by referee Richard Steele due to excessive holding. But something that seemed impossible happened. A few seconds before the end of the first round, Bruno hit Tyson with a left hook right-hand combination to the side of the head, which left Iron Mike staggered for the first time in his professional career. fighter, but this was one match no one could ever predict. And by the second round, Tyson noticed Bruno was beginning to get tired. It was unavoidable because it would have been difficult for Bruno to sustain prolonged fights with that amount of muscle mass. Sensing this, Tyson hit Bruno with a right hand that sent him into the ropes. Now, sensing a knockout, Tyson continued hammering him with power punches. But Bruno, being the strong man he is, was able to hold on and continue the fight even as Tyson continued to maintain control and dominance throughout the fight. In the fifth and final round, Mike had become frustrated and tired of the British man's continuous clinching, so he decided to knock him out. With a minute left in the round, Tyson began to hammer him with more power punches that sent him into the ropes, where he eventually hit him with 2 right uppercuts and a left hook that left Bruno's legs wobbly. Despite these cold-blooded attacks from Tyson, Bruno still managed to stay on his feet until the referee stepped in and stopped the fight, awarding Tyson the win by technical knockout. After the match, Tyson acknowledged Bruno for his strength, but didn't forget to praise himself by saying he was the best fighter in the world.
The only thing, I can't change any opinion. I just have to continue fighting and have to change the opinions on themselves. After seeing this performance, perhaps they still have doubts. But eventually, as I go successfully, defeating all the contenders and perhaps the champion in the nearby future, then I will have to quiet all doubt. But then still we have a little doubt is then.
But the events that followed this match would be entirely different for both boxers. Bruno would go on to win more significant matches that earned him titles and catapulted him to the peak of his career. One of those defining moments being his fight against Oliver McCall on September 2nd, 1995, when Bruno endured through the 12-round bout and eventually emerged winner, claiming the world champion title. Tyson's career, on the other hand, went on a totally different trajectory. After his encounter with Bruno, Tyson only had one further fight in 1989, which turned out to be the last successful defense of his undisputed championship. The match was a very quick win for Tyson, as he easily knocked out Carl Williams just 93 seconds into round 1. After this momentous win, Tyson went on a career break, resurfacing after 7 months to face James "Buster" Douglas. Naturally, everyone presumed the fight with Buster would be one of Tyson's easy wins, but to their surprise, Douglas won by a 10th round knockout, becoming the new undisputed heavyweight champion and putting an end to Tyson's invincibility. This shocking turn of events was humiliating for Tyson, but he didn't give up. So he attempted a comeback and went on to defeat Henry Tillman, Alex Stewart, and Donovan Ruddock twice. Unfortunately, he was arrested and sentenced to prison for rape shortly after that. In 1995, Tyson was finally released from prison, and it was obvious that Iron Mike had undergone a character transformation. He even mentioned in an interview that prison did not rehabilitate but rather debilitated him because he found himself doing things he wouldn't normally do. Whatever prison did to Tyson, it sure was good for him as he returned to the ring and resumed his winning streak. He defeated both Peter McNeely and Buster Mathis Jr. in a single round, which caused his fame to soar even more. However, Tyson still had to do one more thing if he wanted to regain his old reputation as the undisputed champion. He needed to face his old friend Frank Bruno, who was the current WBC heavyweight champion at the time. Though the boxers had seemed amicable in the past, this match started to reveal their true feelings for each other. Bruno didn't hide how much he disliked Tyson, and Tyson also made it clear that he would do anything to strip Bruno of his title. The day came, and this time, the rematch was held on March 16, 1996, 7 years after their first fight. It was time for their second clash. In the ring, Bruno seemed to have grown even more muscular, but just as muscle mass didn't help him the first time, it was also of no use to him this time either, because Tyson again controlled and dominated the fight from start to finish. In less than a minute into the third round, Tyson dodged a jab from Bruno and unleashed a 13-punch combination that caused referee Mills Lane to stop the fight.
But you seem to lose your cool generally because of what seemed like frustration and not being able to do what Mike Tyson could do best.
Well, this I thought was a good fight for me because most of these guys are going to fight me like this. These are supposed to be the best heavyweights in my day. And, they have no respect. They say I'm a young boy. I haven't fought anybody. Now, what can Bone Crusher say? Is he added to the list of the bums I fought? Then if I didn't knock him out, he fought like that makes him a bum too. Ask him if he a bum. He didn't want to fight. He didn't want to win.
once again saving Bruno. Thus, Tyson was announced as the new WBC heavyweight champion once more. After the match, Bruno expressed his desire to get into the ring for the third time with Tyson, but unfortunately, during his second match, Tyson had damaged his left cheekbone, which meant that Bruno had fought his last fight of his career. According to the doctors, even one more fight could put Bruno at risk of a complete loss of vision. Bruno had to officially retire from boxing, his dream of defeating Tyson unfulfilled. Tyson, on the other hand, still wanted to secure the WBA heavyweight title. However, his contract stipulated that he had to first defend the WBC heavyweight title against the #1 contender, Lennox Lewis, before he could do that. American boxing promoter Don King intervened, paying Lewis $4 million to step aside and allow Tyson to face Bruce Seldon, the WBA champion at the time. But Tyson had to come back and fight Lewis to give Lewis a shot at the WBC title afterwards. The fight between Tyson and Seldon would go on to make history as one of the shortest heavyweight championship fights in boxing history. Lasting barely 2 minutes, Tyson defeated Seldon by a first-round knockout, thus securing the WBA heavyweight title and cementing his dominance in the world of boxing.